Down with the Kings. The Trill Stories from the Life of Heza Leo. We're on chapter 5. Show you a picture. We're on chapter 5 here. This is summer before alternative school. Boy, I know about alternative school. Miss Wimberly, if you're watching this, I love you so much. When everybody was against me, you had my back. You're the whole reason I survived alternative school. So thank you from the depths of my soul. Anyway, this is a great book. I encourage you to pick it up. You can also pick up Pimp C's Trill Life Story. Lots of merch, lots of great products, real authentic Trill gear from trillgear.biz. I encourage you to go and take a look. You want some great Pimp C products? Go and take a look. You want some Trill products? Go and take a look. You'll get it from Trill Gang themselves. None of the fakers. A lot of fakers, but we're the real Trill deal. So let's get into it. Probably going to read 10 chapters a day until we finish this book. So we're on chapter 5. The summer before alternative school. It was getting close to summertime, and we had decisions to make. For some of us, it was deciding which schools we were going to. For me, it meant deciding who were we going to affiliate with, the East Side or the West Side schools. Most of the people in my clique were from the West. I stayed in the middle of the East and West. I stayed a street over. I stayed off 12th Street. I think if I ain't mistaken, he's from 11th Street. So I understand. And that's on the east side. But I knew everyone. I used to spend a lot of time on the west side because my dad lived there. My biological dad was cool, but his issues was that he met his match when he met my mom. She was too much for him. But he tried to hold on. She had bucked him off when I was little. So sometimes I'd go see him, but mostly I'd be at his mom's house while he did what he did. He didn't have time for me, but it's good. I got over it. Had the same situation, Heezy. So I'd be in the projects at his mom's apartment. She was very sweet to me. I loved her. I met a lot of kids on the west side early on, so later in life I knew a lot of people from there. There was a decision lurking and lingering. It was a known fact that if you weren't a nerd, you were almost guilty by association based on which school you attended. If you were East, you were a Debonnoir dog or a Zeta cat. If you were West, you were a Q dog or a tree or a try. And that's before my time, Easy. The tries were like a younger version of the dogs, but more risky, ratchet, and violent. I knew a lot of the tries naturally. One day, I was visited by a few head tri members. Oh, you talking about the triads. I know who you talking about. They asked me and a friend of mine who lived on the block north of me. What school were they going to? And who were we going to side with? I said, naturally, I wanted to be a tri. My homie said, I guess. to be cool. Yeah, me too. They were like, good. We'll let others know and set a date to initiate you both. I didn't know what to expect. But one day they came to our hood and told me to call my homie. His name was Ori. One of the guys mentioned that there was a beer store that had recently caught fire but still had some undamaged goods inside. They had seen it. We planned to go in 2 cars to retrieve as much of the undamaged stuff as we could. When we got there was all sorts of damaged items, but a lot seemed unharmed. We loaded up cases of beer, all kinds of wine and liquor, just as much as we could carry, and we dipped. We went back to my house and I convinced my mom to let us chill and party there. She was cool with it. I think at that time she was depressed and just going with the flow. We were always experiencing ups and downs, highs and lows, but she said yes. So we bought bags of ice, found buckets in my house, and filled sinks, bathtubs, and buckets with drinks. The ice box and coolers were packed. I got a similar story. I'm digging it. I'm sure a lot of us do. We had way too much, but we had others coming. By then, everyone was there, about 15 of us or more. We spoke about the initiation and decided Ori would go first. I still didn't know what to expect. We were waiting for the drinks to get cold, and after some time, someone popped open the can and said, "Shit, it's cold." We all started drinking. Most of them knew I was a drinker, but some didn't. Most of the other guys are big talkers but not drinkers. So one of the leaders said, "First person to get too wasted and fall asleep, we're going to whoop him." Everyone kept talking shit and drinking. And then they decided it was time. They wrapped blue bandanas around their fists. Bandana idea was a suggestion from my cousin in Vegas. He suggested we became Crips and told us about his set. So being young and dumb, we were like, cool. And just like that, we were Mega Phi Tri Gangsta Crips. Okay. Ha ha. Well, ain't that something? Ori was my first. I'm sorry. Ori was first. They surrounded him and started beating him up. He tried to fight back for a few seconds, but then he just balled up and took the beatings and kicks until he was almost out. But then they stopped and said it was my turn. I'm like, shit. So the first person got near me, I hit him, and the group jumped me. I stood firm and fought back. I never hit the ground. I was slamming dudes, punching and kicking, until they said, "Damn, this nigga got hard." My face was bloody, my nose was bleeding, but I was still in the fight. They stopped and said, "Now y'all with us." They started wiping my blood with a rag and celebrating. I was under an ignorant spell, so I celebrated too. I got my ass kicked to join the gang, and I was happy. I think. Ha ha. Well, the group of guys was feared by a lot of kids. Started to see people show me different kinds of respect. But the time came after a crazy summer where we chose our schools. I had to go to an alternative school, so my choice was made. Ori was supposed to go to school on West Lincoln, but he didn't live in the jurisdiction. He was 1 block outside the school zone. I was in the middle, so I could choose either. Now that Ori had to go to the East Side school, he was deep in enemy territory. So basically, he had joined the West Side gang, and now he's going to the East Side. So he's, going to come across some conflict, I'm sure. But he said he would stay down with us. I guess he got pressured. I got word that he switched sides. He joined the ops. That was not a good choice on his part because my guys felt like he was a traitor. And now he was our enemy. They asked me where I stood, and I said I made my choice during the summer. You know where I'm at. So it was done. Ori was put on the enemy list, like all the other East Side cliques. I honestly felt bad for Ori. So I used to try to warn him not to go certain places at certain times because we were catching guys and jumping them. This went on for some time. But then we had this major brawl. I had told Ori beforehand that we were taking over the fairgrounds this weekend, and none of the East Side guys better be seen. We sent word out. A group of them showed up, but we were super deep. All our hard hitters were ringmasters. Just a gruesome bunch. I'll tell you, Those of y'all don't know, a ringmaster, somebody got them hands, they'll get in the ring with you and just beat the shit out of you. So they had some ringmasters in the clique. We were watching them kind of speed off, but kept intel about when it was time to move on them. They all kind of sensed it might get ugly, so they grouped together closely. We smelled fear. So we all came together and approached them. One of our spokespeople named Ghost and another named E-Dog started asking them why the hell they came out tonight. Before they could answer, boom! Someone from our side stole off on one of their guys. Means they hit them. And that shit started an explosion. We started jumping them fiercely. They were outnumbered. A few of them ran, but a few stood their ground. One of the guys, big brothers named John, was bigger than everyone. He tried his best, but it was too many of us. We caught some of the guys 3 or 4 on one and put a hurting on them. I saw Ori in a circle of about 5 guys pleading, and they were kicking his ass so bad he took off running. He wasn't looking and ran into a parked car. Damn near knocked him out. But they still stomped him. Another kid beat him limp. 2 or 3 of the guys had to be carried to the hospital. It was just across the street. The fairgrounds was right there in front of St. Mary's Hospital. For those of y'all don't know, right there. So you didn't have to go far. But it sounded like they got their ass whooped. We dispersed and fled, switching shirts and hats, grouped with girls, and blended in a lot of these types of events went on. But one night, we were in enemy territory at a dance. We had taken over the party, and 2 guys were put on notice. They said, we're going to get these 2 guys tonight. I was like, okay. Then I thought, damn, I know these 2 kids. They're not really into street shit. They just dress nice and fuck hoes. So I asked one of the head guys, why are we getting them? He said, because one of them fucked my girl, or a girl I'm trying to fuck with. I was like, hell no. This ain't no move to make. So I secretly bumped into one of the guys and told him, look, nigga, if you and your homie get the fuck out of this party as soon as possible, you see this guy go towards the restroom, y'all dip. Y'all's ass in danger. They listened and ran. A little after, we chased them, but the heads up I gave helped them get a good distance away from us. I know I sound like a traitor, but I was beginning to understand that we were beating up other young black males badly for no good reason. At first I didn't care why, but as I grew, I wanted to know. I'm sorry I keep looking around. I'm just very aware of what goes on around me. Obviously, I grew up similar. At first I didn't care why, but as I grew, I wanted to know. What was the reason for us to be against each other? I started to feel like I was really on the wrong path and needed to make sense of it all or be done with it. Fighting among our crew was common, but it started happening too often. I started to see we had no structure. We stood for nothing. We were just a group of ignorant kids causing mayhem with no rhyme nor reason. I wanted out. At one meeting, I decided I was done. I told them I want to quit the group. They hit me with some line off a movie like, you can't quit. You're in this for life. I said, shit, nigga, I'm done. They said, wait. Let us speak about this. They went into a shack at one of the guys' houses. Easy, I commend you for this because, as you know, I know too, for you to do that, a lot of guys have died. They said, wait, let us speak about this. They went into a shack at one of the guys' houses, I guess to talk about my decision. A few minutes later, one of them came out. Then another. Then another. I waited under a tree. Finally, the spokesman said, you sure you want to do this? I said, yeah, and told him why. He nodded and said, okay, you're free to go. But you're on your own now. But them east side niggas get on your ass. Don't look for us. I walked off. And just like that, I was done with that gang shit. I still hung out with some of them sometimes, but I wasn't part of the activities no more. Well, let's just say alternative school was a party. We barely went. We drank beer, wine, and liquor. In the morning, smoked weed, then went to school. It was a bunch of fighting, bunch of wasted potential. Some people were actually trying. I wasn't. Ha ha. I was just there to do my time. A lot of the kids there weren't kids anymore, pretty much young adults. It was a mix of different people from broken homes, girls and babies, and all kinds of stories. It was fun but kind of sad. The schoolwork was easy, but some kids were, slow as molasses. But hey, whatever. It was a crazy time. I guess I kind of got turned out in a sense. I just wasn't a kid anymore. I grew a beard, so I was the one buying drinks for most of us since I looked of age. But I wasn't. After about 2 years, I got out on early release. They let me go back to regular school. Said it looked like I was doing better. I wasn't. Shit was just easy. can relate to this easy. I went to high school, but by then, most of my peers were juniors and seniors. I never mentioned that I got held back. I never got out of ninth grade. Math held me back, and I couldn't cut it. So I started drifting through high school, back to my old self, drinking, smoking, wasting time. By this time, I had started hustling. The school was near a place we called the Cuts, and I'd be out there selling shoelaces, potato wedges, noodles, cookies, pies, cakes. Ha ha, believe that. But yeah, I'd leave school, hit the Cuts, then go back to school, catch the bus, and go home. This went on daily, weekly, until the principal called me into his office. He was pro-black, sometimes wore African clothes. He asked me about my family history, our names, our roots, all that. Then he summed it up and said, "Son, you're not Lincoln High School material. Why are you here?" I thought, shit, I don't know. Fuck you and your school. So I dropped out. Man, I got a similar story. I decided to drop out of school and sell products in the Cuts. Well, that didn't last too long. The raids and all the jump outs made it kind of hard to stay profitable when sometimes I'd have to toss my stash either into a field or out the window, whatever the case, just get rid of it. Now I was home every day. My mom wasn't, so I'd sleep all morning and I'd go to school and spend my time fishing for girls, reeling them into school to skip school with me. My mom didn't care if we had female company, she just wanted us out of trouble. I dibbled and dabbled with all sorts of girls, some pretty, some white, some black, fat, skinny, tall, short. I had no preference. So here I was, half-ass hustling, a high school dropout, a full-blown alcoholic. Well, I turned out real well, huh? Wasn't about shit. Ha ha. One night, pulling cappers landed me in the back of a police car. I caught a fresh little dumb case for taking beers from a store and throwing a case at the clerk. Ended up on probation. Part of the deal was I had to go back to school till I turned 17. Here's the kicker. I could only go to the school, the one full of people we used to fight against. I knew a lot of them from middle school. So it's kind of weird. But most of them, sorry, the wind is blowing. But most of them also knew I had stopped all that gang activity. I was done with that life. Still, I was just a lost kid. I used to get ugly looks from some, but no one ever did anything to me. I guess they just said, fuck it. I was back in school, but I was still on the same old crap. Drinking, smoking, skipping. I had a good bit of girls who were silly for liking me because, truth be told, I was heading nowhere fast. I had fun though. Got into a couple of fights. Let a few younger niggas nowhere. I was a leader with no direction. So my followers were undoubtedly fucked. Haha. One time I had a run-in with a teacher. She was tall and beautiful, and I swore she was feeling me. We used to kind of talk like a man and a woman instead of a teacher and a student. But honestly, she never crossed the line the way I wanted her to. Man, I was on her neck. Daily compliments. Flirt and all that. She always laughed and smiled, so I thought I had a shot. Then one day she told me to stay after class. Boy, I knew she wanted me. Stayed after. She closed the door. She walked up, standing inches from me. Tall as I was, long blonde hair, smelled so good. I'm thinking, ooh, this hoe about to kiss me. Man, this lady points her finger in my face and tells me she can't believe me. She said, every morning I see you and your little followers walk off campus and come back silly. I don't know what y'all are doing, but if you don't want to learn, get your ass out of this school. But today, you're going to stop leading those younger kids to the bottom. She stared me down. If you don't stop, I will find a way to get you out of here. Do you understand me? And me? I'm still thinking, maybe she'll kiss me. I stayed in school a little longer, just for my probation. Met a lot of girls, had a lot of fun, and then boom, I disappeared, gone without a trace. In all actuality, I was at home sleeping in, waiting on nasty girls to skip school, getting drunk, smoking. A young bum. Same song, different verse. Drinking, smoking, talking shit, wasting life, barbecuing, getting into petty street shit, shootouts, fights, more drama, more bullshit. Negativity became my norm. That's the end of chapter 5.